Hey everyone, I'm Hallease Beast, a digital storyteller and video producer.
And I'm Mr. Hallease. I like pizza, and I'm a nurse.
All right. This is the Beastcast, your favorite aunt and uncle talking about married life and things like such as. So today's topic is actually from someone who had commented on one of the previous Beastcast episodes via YouTube. And his name is Christopher Lavore. I hope I said that right, Christopher.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, another Chris. So yeah, his comment/question is, I understand you've had 2 sets of locks, manicured and semi-freeform, and a period of being loose natural. Through all, you've been married. If I understand the timeline correct, how was the shifts in appearance impacting the marriage, if any impact at all? And I thought that was like an interesting topic to discuss. So here we are. We going to discuss it. Apparently, Mr. Hallease feels a certain type way about the topic. He is scared what y'all are going to think of him.
I'm going to get crucified. I know it.
Why?
Pontius Pilate is going to come up from the grave.
Pontius Pilate,
yo. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's going to get biblical. Disclaimer. Just a disclaimer. I had and that's actually my first point. I had to write these down.
Oh, you wrote them?
Quick. I had to write some points down.
Okay.
So I had a poor connection to the black community, black culture, and to black hair. Born in Laredo. Y'all think just because I'm light-skinned or whatever, and there's all this, when it's oh, he doesn't know anything, or you're married to a white man and he doesn't value who you are. Mm-hmm. And it's look, born in Laredo. It's a very sheltered city. It's majority Hispanic, majority Mexican, Hispanic of Mexican descent. So more than a lot of black people in Laredo.
I feel like you're coming out at this purely very defensive, and I don't think that's necessary at all.
I mean, I'm going to talk. All I'm saying is that this is a disclaimer. That's where I'm coming from when I make these points. All right, some of they're not. I can feel it.
You can feel.
I can feel it happening, but you know what?
You can feel the judgment that you're going to get. So apparently, okay.
But it's you know what? You're on her channel. You're here to support her. She is my wife. I love her, so I'm here to support her too. That being said...
Hold up. So, for those of y'all who are new / listening, if y'all didn't know, I am black and he is Latinx. So there's that. And yeah, to the commenter's point, I have been a loose natural I have been natural for most of my adult life. So I started off with the first set of locks. That's how a lot of people on YouTube first found me. It was my first set of locks. I started them in 2008, and I had them for about 4 or 5 years before I combed them out. And then I was a loose natural for a good 2 or 3 years. And then I am now on my second set of locks, dreadlocks for those of y'all who don't know, the short term. And I've had them 2 years now? Coming up on 2 years. No. Coming up on 3 years. So yeah, that's where I've been through a lot in the hair game, as they say. Just in the time, all the while being married to Mr. Hallease over here.
Hi.
So yeah, now make your points.
Cool.
You have to give backstory, love.
Sorry.
All right.
So I'm going to make a point, and we'll see what you react to. Let's see.
Okay.
I don't even remember what point 2 is.
All right.
Okay. Oh, no. Oh, God. Point 2 is the gasoline on the fire. So first meeting you, I felt, or not even first meeting you, but just in the infancy of the marriage, I felt like locks were a little masculine.
Yeah.
Because my exposure to it, sorry, just to add a little more context, my only exposure to locks were football.
Yeah.
And all the black men, or most of the black men, it was either cut short or locks.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be like, oh, these are fighting words. That's just...
You saying that all black people look like men or
No, love, it's not people. People aren't going to do that. But that's a fair point. You have had very little exposure before meeting me, right? You would have very little exposure to Black history, Black culture, Black people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And a lot of that is just purely based on geography, right? There's just stuff you're not gonna know.
Yeah, I watched Good Hair when I was dating you.
Yeah, yeah. We both watched.
It was super eye-opening. Like, holy crap, are you serious? They got formaldehyde in that stuff? What do you mean there's formaldehyde in the hair straightener? What are you talking about? And you put that in your what? No.
Yeah.
If we ever have a kid,
Yeah, you
they're
were
never getting their hair
you were
straightened.
immediately like, if we ever have a daughter, no, I remember eventually you were like, ultimately it's your decision because you're her mom, so you're gonna like know what to do. But I
Yeah,
would
it's
really
not like-
prefer that you don't do that to her.
please don't put poison and a carcinogen in my child's hair, please.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus. Like pulling hair like so hard and like so taut that you're like pulling patches of hair out and
Yeah.
stuff. Like this is a major part of your life.
Yeah. Well, it was anyway for a lot
I mean,
of it.
it's still a part of who you are, right?
Well, yeah, natural hair, sure, but a lot of stuff that was in good hair was like, I don't do none of that. So,
Well, I mean, what's your counterpoint to like, oh, it looks masculine?
I mean, I don't think it does, but I understand if all your exposure was football, then, and that's like the only time you ever saw people with locks, then sure, you know?
Well, yeah, because then most of the black women, and again, this is like the mainstream stuff. So you have like Halle Berry or whatever, they all got straight hair.
Yeah, exactly. So you just learn to like, unfortunately, you learn like a negative trait, or like you associate a trait that is gender neutral with a specific gender,
Right.
and that's just kind of how that happens. So I don't think that's bad though. If that's your truth, just speak it. Discourse.
Well, I remember I said that and you were like, really? You think that? And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's...
Well, you didn't say it as eloquently then as you just did now. You just said, oh yeah, it felt, I remember I saw your hair and it looked very, I thought it was very, yeah, masculine or boyish.
I mean, you always kept it shorter when I first knew you.
My locks?
Your locks were a little shorter. I mean, they weren't like mid-back or anything.
No, I mean, they've all, like, yeah, they made it to about like here-ish. Almost bra strappy, almost. I don't know. I can't really remember. But I used to put them up the way I do now. Put them up in styles and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have an opinion about them. They were just like, oh, that's the way that you wear your hair.
Yeah.
I'm married to your hair, I guess, but it's not like your hair is not the reason why I married you.
Right, yeah.
It's not the reason why I'm going to get divorced from you or anything.
Yeah, I remember when I definitely distinctly remember when I was combing out my locks. After I'd combed them out.
First off, that was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, because he helped me, actually. He helped me comb out.
This is a shoulder just holding. It's a good shoulder exercise, just holding your arms up.
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, so when I was combing them out, he helped me do that as much as, like, before he would get, like, annoyed, obviously, because it was very time intensive.
I helped you like 15% of them.
Yeah, and then I remember when I had just, like, had my hair in just plaits, because I had never actually had my loose natural hair out and cared for it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going through this, like, learning curve of knowing how to take care of my natural loose hair. And, like, what texture do I even have? I don't even know, you know? Because I had gone straight from permed hair to locks. There was no in between when I did it. So my mom was like, oh, what does Mr. Hallease think about that? Like, is he okay with you just having your head looking platty? And I was like, I mean, I'm sure he probably has an opinion about it, but it is what it is. I need to figure this out. I don't know what I'm doing, so I have to just figure it out. And I'm gonna look a little busted for a minute. I'm sorry.
There is a photo that you used on Google, and it's still on your @Gmail. Where it's you with like your
my little nubs.
Yeah. Or like fro. No, it's fro.
No, it's
black
nubs.
and white with fro.
Yeah, it's the nubs. Those
Is it
are
nubs?
Yeah, those are when I started the second set.
No.
And when they're starting to look
I remember
a little...
the nubs. There's one of you in a fro.
Oh, that one. Yeah, it's like
the
all
one that
artistic.
I don't like.
You don't like that shot?
I don't like that shot.
Really?
Yeah, you look borderline like Frederick Douglass.
You just called me Frederick Douglass.
Yeah,
though.
no, and again, roast me in the comments, man.
You don't like that photo?
No, I don't like that photo.
What don't you like about it? Why do you have it then as my thing?
That's what comes up naturally.
That's weird. No, that's you saved that.
Negative.
Yeah, you did.
We can talk about that later. But
All right. Well, you can literally put any other photo. Just change
I
it.
should change it. Just taking a little break from the main podcast to. Okay, so it's okay for you to do it.
Yeah,
but
you see how it is. Anyway.
I like it. Anyway, thank you all for listening. If you'd like to participate or support the podcast, you could do so in the following ways.
You sound very just. Go for it.
Yeah, so I mean, if you'd like to interact with us, leave us a topic that you'd like us to talk about. You can, if you're listening on Anchor, you can leave us a voicemail on Anchor. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment. If you're listening to this wherever you're getting your podcast from, if you'd like to rate us on the app, feel free to do so. If you'd like to leave a comment for us, please do. Hallease likes reading them. I enjoy reading them. Y'all are an engaging audience.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You know, we like you. Y'all are good.
Yeah.
If you'd like to support us, if you're watching on YouTube, you know, if you want to let the ads play out, it helps us. If it's super annoying or you don't want to do it, we understand that. If you'd like to support her on Patreon, you could do so at
patreon.com/Hallease.
The link will be somewhere here or down below in the description.
Yeah.
We appreciate y'all, and that's this episode's minute of stuff. Now back to the podcast.
Back to the Beastcast.
So like Locs seemed masculine, but that's just like, I don't know.
I remember when I combed my locks
That
out.
seems more masculine.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember when I combed my... See, so that's the other thing, too. His opinion fluctuates a lot. Like a lot.
I'm a fickle, I guess.
Are we cursing on the podcast? I feel like we need to make an official...
I'm trying not to.
Okay.
It's like PG-13.
Yeah.
It's like drop the B word.
Every now and then. Once or twice a month. Anyway.
Cover your ears if you're not comfortable with the B word. It's a Bob's Burgers reference.
Anyway, we I just lost my train of thought because No, yeah, you have a very fickle opinion when it comes to my hair, because I do remember you so that was the other thing too. He had the foresight to not tell me that about my locks until after they were gone. You did not tell me that you thought my locks were masculine until I didn't have them anymore. Which that was a good move. That was a good thing to wait to say, you know? But then I also remember when I had my fro, you liked it for a long time.
Did I?
Yeah.
So that leads me into point 3.
Okay. Because you were like, yeah, your locks are so masculine. This is like interesting. I remember you were always just like, it feels like a pillow, a fluffy pillow.
Well, okay, so that leads perfectly into point 3.
Okay.
Locks at the time
Yeah.
were itchy on my skin when you would lay your head on my chest.
Mm-hmm.
Not even like a fine grit, like a coarse grit sandpaper
Mm-hmm.
on my skin.
Mm-hmm.
And like we would wake up and it was itchy and red and like not inflamed, but it was just like painful.
Mm-hmm.
What?
You gonna get roasted, bro. You're gonna get so roasted.
Well, no. So
No, that was my fault because
I was gonna say it's more the care.
Yeah, I didn't. And that was one of the main reasons I combed my locks out, was because I knew I wasn't caring for my locks very well the first set, and I knew a lot of that was because I didn't know my own hair texture and all of that kind of stuff. So I felt this need to comb them out so I could just figure out how to take care of my hair, which goes into, I think, like almost the oppression side of Black culture and just the love-hate relationship we have with hair and just all the things culturally that we just had to, I think my generation kind of specifically has kind of unpacked through the internet, and the natural hair community and movement and all of that. So you're right. My hair was very dry my locks were very dry and not managed well.
Dare I say that it had a lot of
probably buildup. Yeah,
buildup.
They probably
that
did.
It probably added to it.
Yeah, they probably had a lot of buildup and stuff.
Because now you've got such a good regimen that you lay your head on my chest and there's like no reaction, and it's your hair is like super soft and supple.
Yeah.
And
all of that took time to figure out and learn. I think so. Something that I've appreciated about you is that it's almost the beauty of ignorance of the culture is that you kind of don't even realize what I think other people within the Black community would consider like is busted.
Case in point, your current style I know is like a little bit fuzzy up here. And I know a lot of people would probably comment that like, oh, it's so like nappy, you're not really like maintaining it well, whatever. Yeah. To me, it's just like, oh, cool. It's just an extension of your hair. It's just like it naturally blends. Yeah. So like, I don't know anybody.
Well, now you do because you know the language and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, you know enough. But yeah, otherwise it's like depending on who else I was dating or oh my gosh, with my first set of locks, my mom and dad all the time were constantly like, go get them retightened all the time. And that's part of the reason why they started breaking off after like year 4 or so, was because over manipulation, I was doing too much with them. Whereas with this set...
and the stress
too. Yeah. Whereas with this set, I'm semi-freeform, so I try not to do too much at all. It's more about just moisture and cleanliness, and that's it,
Well, so, I mean, specifically speaking of your regimen, I know, like, your hair has kind of changed throughout the course of the marriage, but I know the regimen, finding the right regimen for you, like a lot of the marriage or a lot of like the things about your hair just kind of like come in and out of my memory. But I know you getting a good regimen was a big deal.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It was like years and years and years, and you would try this and try that. And you're finally at a good place.
Yeah.
It's still evolving, but still in a good, healthy place.
Yeah, I have like a baseline established, and then sometimes I'll kind of like add something into it, and you're like, no, go back.
I mean, honestly, I have asthma/reactive airway disease, right?
Yeah, and you're constantly experimenting. You're constantly trying new things.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, if you were to actually put a ton of chemicals in your hair, it would probably, like, affect me. I sound like a delicate little, like, snowflake. It's like, oh, I'm so affected by the things that you do. Talk about masculinity. Like, I sound like a little, like a filthy B word. Biscuit.
Well, so I mean, I guess so. I think with the commenter.
This is the other one. Man, I am gonna get roasted in the comments. I got one more.
Okay, I think the commenter is also talking about it in terms of just like. So socially, when you like the gold standard of beauty is a very like Western European sense, right? So, and even when it comes to romance, people will talk about like, oh, I ran my fingers through her hair and blah 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 and blondes and just all the like there's all these like poetic descriptor words for essentially like not kinky hair textures, right? Whereas we don't, like, even down to the language, we don't have romantic language widely available for Afro-textured hair. And so, within the community, we have found a way to sort of, like, find that beauty amongst... to own it and find that beauty amongst ourselves. But I think for the commenter, because I think in his screenshot, he looks black, it's kind of like coming from this outside perspective. Like, he probably just wants to understand to a certain degree of, like, do you think it's ugly? I would imagine. Something to that degree.
Well, so I liked when your hair was short, like when you buzzed it off. Like I thought it was cute short.
Right, yeah. I shaved my head before I started this set of locks. That was like the prompting that started this set was I buzzed my whole head off.
And you still, oh man, sometimes you still bring up that subject.
I still think about like, shaving it again.
Remember the investment. Remember everything you've been through.
But you liked my hair short.
I liked it short, but then like the growing period, then because you're so
Yeah.
short, you started looking like
I started looking like a little boy.
a little boy, and I was
So
like,
I'd have to wear earrings and like.
I felt kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's the thing.
And
when
then
it's,
like the little nubs,
yeah. No.
the nubs weren't that cute.
Yeah, I know. So it's like when my hair is shaved completely off, I think I look good.
So I thought you initially were gonna keep it at that length, and you
I
were
thought
just
I
gonna
was-
keep buzzing it.
Yeah, I thought I was too.
But
and
then you
I
just kinda-
didn't. I
yeah.
just let it start growing back. And so it was like super awkward for a while, for like a good year.
Well, so like knowing what I do now, like the transitionary periods that are traditionally thought of as being kind of awkward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel the same way. Yeah, but now, I mean, I like your locks. I like you with your locks. I do like your hair up, though.
Yeah.
And that's mostly because I do feel like it makes you look a little bit more regal, you know? Like it shows off your, you have like a longer neck, and it frames her face well, you know? Because like typically her locks are kind of like covering parts of her face, but this is just, they're up and out of the way.
Well, that's the other thing too. I feel like with a lot of my features and other Black women that have similar features to me, like having long hair doesn't really help accentuate our features. If anything, it kind of hinders them. And so I think that's why a lot of us, like when we have taper cuts or taper fades and stuff like that, it looks very nice on us because we have cheekbones, we have jawlines, we have these striking, beautiful features that having hair like doesn't help accentuate it. If anything, it kind of hinders them. So yeah, in general, when I do put my hair up, I do notice that too, where it's like, oddly enough, I feel like I look more just feminine overall, you know, just like a crown of hair on my head.
Well, I mean, especially it helps with that style. It looks like a crown.
Yeah, that's why I wear
A
it.
crown of hair. So the other point is hair extensions.
Oh yeah.
You used to
I
put
experimented with hair extensions and stuff.
I did not like them.
Right, but it was purely a texture thing for
It was
you.
it was
It was just all of it
I didn't like them
at all.
Was it like actual hair?
No, it was synthetic hair.
It made me. It always made me think that it was actual hair, and I was
really?
creeped out by it.
Oh, like because like someone else's hair is like touching my wife's hair.
I don't know what it was. It was
On
just
me.
like it's just. I don't want to use the term gross.
Mm-hmm.
Like right, because like I'm trying not to use negative terms.
Right.
'Cause I'm already like people are just frantically typing on their keyboard,
Oh, I don't.
busting keys.
You haven't said anything ridiculous, love. Like you really haven't.
But yeah, it was just there's just something about like if it was actual human hair,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what it just seemed weird. Like it wasn't dirty, but it's just like I don't know what it was. I just didn't like it. I did not like it.
Yeah. So I used to do, what did I do? I did Havana twists for a little while.
Yeah, Bantu knots are the things up on your head, right?
Yeah, the nubs, cute little nubbies. And then I did something else for a long time. Oh, I did yarn braids for a while, where I would do yarn. I think if you go back far enough, you can find some tutorials on my channel where I did all this stuff. When my hair was loose natural, I really experimented with all that because I could now, you know?
Yeah. Well, there were no repercussions.
Right.
Because you could always just shave it off again.
Exactly.
Whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's freedom. Or
yeah.
freeing.
So I just experimented a lot. And yeah, you kind of went along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he didn't say any of this while I was doing all of it. He would just be kind of like, that looks nice. And then your complaints were always usually around intimacy. So it's like, I feel like I can't touch your hair now because I don't want to mess it up.
Oh, that was so with the what was it? Not the braids, but what do you call those? With the extensions. Excuse me.
You're saying extension and people are going to think you mean like weave. I'm talking about Havana twists and like that kind of stuff.
Okay, so with the Havana twist, when I would touch your hair, I feel like I wasn't touching you.
Yeah.
It was just like like a barrier or like a degree of separation from you. And like that was also coarse.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that was even worse than your first set of locks.
Yeah, it was.
Like it was super itchy.
Yeah.
I did not like them. Did not like them.
Yeah, and they were big.
No. Yeah, I'm confusing the Havana twists with like your first locks.
Yeah.
The Havana twists, I did not like them.
Yeah.
Oh, we digging deep now.
Because it was mostly, all of your complaints were around intimacy. So it was like, I'm trying to snuggle with you and I can't, or I just want to touch you and I feel like I'm not actually touching you. I'm touching this synthetic thing.
This barrier.
Between me and you. I don't like that. So it's just, it was that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize how personal it is, I guess, or how intimate it is. But yeah, I think it was more just about
Intimacy, right?
intimacy. Yeah. And trying to maintain intimacy. Because you remember when we met, I just had locks. So when we were dating and all that kind of stuff, you could immediately just touch my hair. Like, it didn't matter at all, you know? And then when I went loose natural and started like experimenting with things, there was like a regression where you were like, why is there a regression? You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of the reason why I didn't comment on it was because I have no control over your body or what you do with your hair, right? Mm-hmm. So there were some hairstyles that I found more attractive, and there were some hairstyles that like I had a preference for, but I couldn't tell you. Like if it was starting to kind of hinder the relationship or intimacy or something, then I would have said something. But I mean, otherwise, it's like I can't tell you what to do with your hair.
Right. That's fair. I don't know. I still feel like I'm happy I went loose natural because that was an experience that ultimately I think got me to where I am now. But I feel like locks are just when I visually see myself, you know, like you see yourself, I have locks. So that, or I don't have any hair at all. There's no between. Loose natural is too much work.
Yeah.
My hair likes to tangle. That's just what it does. So just let it do that and control it. You know? I don't even think you thought I was like dirty or anything though.
Dirty? No, I wouldn't use that term.
No. Because that's a common misconception with people who have locks.
Oh, is that it's dirty?
That people are that like we are dirty.
No, so I'll see people with like busted looking locks, but they're typically not. I'm not going to drag race into this, but they're typically not of the diaspora. So it's like,
yeah,
you did that you did that by choice, and it looks gross.
Yeah.
Like your hair is locking. It's like your hair is locking because it's trying to cling to anything. It's like, please, something help me. And it's like, you help me too. No.
I mean, you say what you need to say.
I'm just saying. Some of it looks gross, but I mean,
it's been interesting. I know I've had conversations with people with straighter hair textures that have locks, and they would talk to me about the process and how difficult it was for them for their hair to lock. And I would always be quick to admit I don't know that struggle, man, because all I had to do was just keep washing my hair. That's all I had to do, and it did its thing. And here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, why would you, like,
the cleaner I was, the faster they locked. Like, then that was it.
It's like, why are you fighting the way that your body is, you know?
Right. For me, locks are definitely a progression of letting my body be what it is, more or less.
So my question is, like, in the traditional black community, in the black community, I guess, straight hair is still deemed the most attractive or like the most desirable.
I mean, I think it's changing.
Or like, is there no preference generally?
Look, I'm about to get roasted probably with that, but I think, the times I went on dates with black men, I could tell there was some frustration at my hair being natural. There was more of a want for me to have wigs, weaves, straighter textures in general. Or if I was going to be natural, then it was more desired to be of a more curlier, like ideal texture, quote unquote, rather than sort of the 4B, 4C life that I'm living.
Well, let me posit it back
Okay.
to the group.
Yeah.
If you are a male and of the diaspora,
Yeah.
then why don't you ask yourself, why are you trying to impose a certain type of look to women? Like, why do they have to have a weave or a wig? It's just that just seems weird to me. But again, that's just my opinion. So why would you want them to have that, or have like straight hair at the expense of their health or at the expense of their comfort? And so that's just me coming at it from outside, like
Yeah.
from an outsider perspective. But it's like, why don't you investigate or interrogate yourselves as to why you feel a certain type of way about it as well?
Yeah. I mean, because even when I had locks, I originally wanted my locks to be, no, not really. I mean, I had a very like manicured vision for my first set of locks, because I was coming at it from just coming out of like perm relaxer culture, which is very laid edges and things like such as, and coming into locks, I definitely still tried to have that same level of intensity in presentation with that set, and it was at the expense of the health of my hair, even though it was natural.
You know what I find interesting is why you need to see the scalp.
I have no
I don't
idea,
know
but
what
I had to that's no shade. I had to unlearn that too. I had to unlearn that trait.
I don't understand that.
So now I'm like, I know it's there. It's good. I'm fine.
The scalp, obviously, the scalp is underneath.
Obviously, but within the culture, yes, everybody needs to see their scalp. I don't know why, but I had to unlearn that from the first set to this set. That was something that took some time to unlearn.
If y'all have not seen, did Chris Rock direct or produce that, or was it both?
I think it was a little bit of both.
Good hair. I know this is probably old news for y'all. It was like a decade, 15 years ago that it came out.
It wasn't that long.
It's about a decade, at least a decade ago.
About a decade, yeah. By this point,
it's a good documentary.
It's good like if you don't know anything about African American.
So
hair,
did you get anything out of it?
Everything they talked about, I knew.
You knew.
2009.
Okay.
So yeah, about a decade ago.
Interesting. I wonder why he made it then. Aside from just to raise awareness.
I think black men don't know this about their own culture. Because I remember listening to him narrate it, it seemed like he didn't know. And the reason why he learned was because he had 2 daughters.
Well, is it ignorance by choice or just like...
I think so.
Ignorance because you just don't care?
I think it's ignorance by...
Or you choose not to know.
Not even that you choose not to. It's just it doesn't affect your day-to-day life. So why do you need to know? It's kind of like women with like...
The beauty regimen of any woman.
The beauty regimen of any woman, or even just like on a more serious note, like women's health topics and things like that. Like most men don't need to know because it's not going to affect their day-to-day life, right? But you should know if you are in a relationship with a woman. Like there's men that are married to women that have no idea when they're menstruating. Like they have no idea because women have been taught to hide it or conceal it and like all these things, whatever. It's the same thing with hair. I think, dads are just kind of like, oh, she's getting to that age. Mom, you gonna handle that? And that's, and that's it. My dad never did our hair. He never did it. So... Now, if we were a boy, then it would be his responsibility. Like my mom would be the same way if we had been boys. She would have been like, "Dad, you gonna handle his hair?"
I'm touching my face a lot. I hope you can't like hear the scratching of my beard.
Yeah, you probably can hear it a little bit.
It's either good ASMR or like gross to people.
Yeah, there is no in between. So yeah, I mean, in terms of hair. And how my hair progressed over the lifespan of our marriage. Closing thoughts. What did you take away from? Did you glean anything from the experience? Or is it just the one more aspect of like,
I did have to check myself at times because, I didn't like the nubs and I didn't like the boyish cut, but it's like, again, I had to check myself. It's like, I cannot control her hair. I cannot control, like, I cannot exert influence or control over you or your body. I just had to like check myself, and it's like, oh, okay, well, you don't, she's happy with her hair and you love her. So like the hair is just like, it's just an extension. It's just like an add-on. And while it's important to you, it should not be as important to me, because it's just like an ancillary thing, you know? It's like, oh, well, she oh man, I was like, oh, she has like toenails. And it's like, oh, that's a deal breaker. She's got 9 toes. Oh, that's a deal breaker. It's like, it's just like, what's her core? She's still Hallease, right?
Right.
And it's like, oh, it's the hair. It's just I can't get over the hair. It's like, all right, you got problems then. You go handle that. And when you want to be a rational human being, come back to the conversation. Otherwise, stay at the table.
Well, it's also kind of, I mean, because I definitely pushed on you to have facial hair. I feel like that would be like the equivalent to this conversation.
So like many young men in college, y'all be growing like scrappy, patchy looking hair on your head or on your face, right? Mm-hmm. So I tried growing it in college, and I was like, I want to grow a beard. It doesn't look good. I'm going to shave it down. And so you said, why don't you grow out your beard? And I said, no, it doesn't. It's not going to look good.
You never committed. You had to commit.
Yeah.
Because you would have it for like 5 days, and like, this looks weird. It's like, because it's been 5 days. You got to give it time.
Yeah, and I remember when it was so itchy. But I don't know if you necessarily pushed it. Like, I always wanted the facial hair.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you liked it was like, oh, bonus. And now it's like, this looks like garbage because I don't maintain it. But you're like, you don't comment on it. So it's like, all right, well, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Because I don't think it looks bad. Even when you grow it out. It's always like after the fact.
But people would disagree with you. Like other people would say, like, oh, yeah, like, oh, looks like he's disheveled.
Yeah, I never see it until like after the fact. So there's this Christmas photo of us. I think it was my godparents' like 50th wedding anniversary.
When it was super long.
Yeah, and it like I didn't realize that it really like was a lot.
I looked
that you
like,
had grown it out so much.
Like part of the brotherhood.
A little bit.
A little.
I didn't. No, but I didn't realize it until
remember
after the fact.
You remember at the hospital?
Oh right. So people of the Muslim faith kept. I forgot about that. Everyone.
They kept coming up to me in the hospital, and I was like, "Malaikum salam," I guess, and they were like, "What you mean?" I guess.
You guess.
And I was like, "Well, I'm not Muslim, but like I'm respecting you." And they were like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yeah, call me if you need anything."
Yeah, so he had like, cause for those of y'all listening, he's part Lebanese, and it's kind of like the same like how America is with being black is the one drop rule. Like with him and the Lebanese-ness, like it's like 1/64th or like something crazy small.
No, I'm 1/16th.
Oh, okay. He's 1/16th Lebanese.
132, whatever. It's a fraction.
It's like a fraction, but like the features you have are so strongly Middle Eastern. Like for you and your dad and your aunt, like you're just your dad's side of the family.
Are we talking about hair? I got like
and you're
straggly looking
right.
Like pubic hair on my face.
You have strong, coarse hair, and he has like strong eyebrows. Like he has a lot of features that you associate with.
I don't know if you could see it from here, but I got like the little like.
He has a lot of strong
unibrow.
Middle Eastern features, and so yeah, there was this time about a couple years back where he just like didn't trim his beard at all. He just let it grow out for quite a while actually, and it didn't bother me. I thought it like I just didn't think anything of it. I'm just kind of like, okay, you know, because I guess similar to what you say, it's just like it's your face. Like I love you. I don't really. It's irrelevant.
Men judge me for it. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I remember you started coming back. This was when he was still a floor ER nurse, and he was starting to come back from the hospital, and people would be like, he's like, yeah, people keep saying things about my beard, and I was like, oh. I mean, I guess if it's, I don't know what to tell. I mean, I think it's fine. I don't know.
But speaking like hygienically or from a infection control point of view,
yeah,
I could not get an N95 like respirator mask
on your
to
face.
Prevent like if you're going into a TB room or It's like some sort of
TB
airborne
stands
precaution,
for
tuberculosis.
Yeah. Some people might not know that.
So if you're going into any sort of environment where there's airborne particles or droplets, where if you breathe them in, you could get the infection.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have a certain type of mask that fits tight on your face. If you have a beard, you're not going to get a tight fit. And so they test you for that as a nurse or as a healthcare worker every year. And if you have a beard, you're going to fail every single time.
Right.
So to pass it, I would keep it trim.
Right. Yeah.
But now since I'm not in the ER,
Yeah, since you're not on the floor
or
anymore,
ED, whatever it is, but yeah.
you don't really worry about that. But I didn't even notice. So, but it was, to get to the point, after the fact, like after you had kind of shaved it down or like maintained it a little better or whatever, and I looked at that photo again, I was like, oh yeah, I guess it is a lot. Like, you know what I mean?
It was a lot.
It was, I just don't.
It was a lot.
In the moment, you don't see it. So like going back, when I look at my lock journey, this set, right? And I look at the first, because I cataloged it on my channel, the first year and a half, I did a video every month so I could see the progression. And so I remember there was a point where I came back to you and was like, I am sorry, because for the first 6 months of this set, I looked busted, you know? Like, I looked rough while this set was getting going. So sorry about that. You know what I mean? But you just don't see it until after.
Yeah.
Because you're just mid-process and you're just, I don't know. But I get it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Hair, I don't know.
It's weird how we like put so much importance on it, but
I think it's glorious. I like that you have all your scruffness and you're just a hairy dude and you just got hair. I like it.
touch my body. You just got hair
Just
everywhere.
got hair. Just nice, just hairy things. You're
And
just a hairy guy.
And I'm glad that you have found, just part of yourself, and you are like one with yourself in your hair.
Yeah.
'Cause I know that's a big deal.
It is. It is such a huge deal for the community and just anyone.
Well, I mean,
but,
for you, it's important to you, so it's important to me.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's that video. Or that's this topic, I guess.
Yeah.
In the comments below, I don't know. Something in the comments below.
Talk to us about hair.
Yeah. Have there been any grand realizations for you when it comes to hair and your partner? Are there deal breakers for you? There's some people, I've talked to dudes that were like, I can't be with someone who's got X trait. And it's like, okay. Why would you limit yourself to that? But okay, sure, if that's how you feel.
That's interesting. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Is it like an attractiveness thing, or is it like the way that other people will see the relationship and it's like, ooh, you with that woman?
I think it's a little bit of both. They're equating the attraction to, well, how will other people see her as attractive too? Like, I think there is something to that.
Oh.
You just don't notice.
So high up there.
You just don't notice that women are paying attention to you. They are, and they usually are giving me begrudging looks. I promise you. You just don't pay attention.
This is not like I'm not fishing for compliments here.
I know you're not. I'm just saying. I know you're not. You really don't see it. It's crazy, y'all. He really doesn't see it. Like, it's absurd. Cool. The looks I get. But anyway.
It's like, why aren't you dating other people? It's like, because I'm with you. Oh, this could transition into another podcast for another day.
True. Yeah. Let's wrap it up. Anyway. In the comments below, let us know what features, if any, are deal breakers for you. Or if you think it's ridiculous that people have features that are considered deal breakers. Like, why is that even a thing?
Ooh,
why would you limit yourself in such a way? We're all just out here trying to find love. Why are you trying to make it harder for yourself for no reason? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let us know in the comments below.
Yay.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.